Welcome to It Happened in Grand Prairie. As we bring you the history of our city and some of the important people that have made this history, and some that are even continuing to make history today, we're just very excited that we're bringing you our history tape number 535. Now this is a real special history in that it will play during 2004 and also 1 week in 2005. We're going to stretch this one because we have with us again today the Honorable Mayor of Grand Prairie, Texas, Charles England. Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. It's good to be here again.
We're so glad to have you here again.
Thanks.
You were here with us recently to talk about one special subject, and oh, that was so exciting, and I know you're going to report on it probably today as one of the important happenings during the year, but we'd just like for you to take the time to look out into your camera and give us a kind of a PowerPoint on some of the things that have happened to Grand Prairie during 2004 that you really have had a lot of experience in. So would you do us that honor at this time?
Sure, I would.
All right.
And thank you again for inviting me. It's hard to believe that another year's gone by.
Yes.
and another great year for Grand Prairie. It's a mixture of some sadness. As we all know, we lost Sergeant Greg Hunter in an ambush in June, and Bruce Sykes, Officer Sykes, who tried to rescue him and was critically wounded. But so I just want to say first off, we certainly want to celebrate his memory,
yes.
Sergeant Hunter's memory, and Bruce Sykes. I mean, what can you say about him? Except thank goodness he's back to work. He's back on duty, but what a hero. So a new hero in Grand Prairie, well deserved, is Bruce Sykes. But,
I'm glad you made that your number one item because that was a real tragedy for our city.
It certainly was. But sometimes, those kinds of things may hopefully bring a city even closer together. And
yes.
I think certainly as tragic as that event was, the city responded in a very positive way. And so we've got his memories. Nobody can take that away from us, and we appreciate that. But it was a great year for Grand Prairie. I guess the first thing to mention is the number of new homes we're building, and upscale homes.
Do you have all that good numbers?
I've got some of them. I don't know that I can remember all the numbers, but I do know that we built over 1,600 new homes last year in Grand Prairie.
That's a little city.
That is. If you figure, 3.5 people per household, well, that's a pretty
nice
good
sized
Texas city. And in the next 5-6 years, there's actually going to be somewhere between 25 and 30,000 people just on the peninsula. And
yes.
so that's, it's hard to believe. They tell we're building a new home and finishing one every 5 hours, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. That's keeping us pretty busy with the infrastructure, the new roads, the water lines, all those kinds of things that go with that is a challenge. But the staff, Bill Crowley and Ron McCullough and those folks at the city have done a great job of keeping up with the demand. And we had all that going on while we're doing all that. Then we had a big event, the Breeders' Cup that came to town and brought some 53,000 people to Lone Star Park, and very successful. Got a lot of positive attention to the city. I know that Bud Kennedy, the Star-Telegram, reported that on the Friday before the big race that he had, I guess you can get all this info out of computers, but said that Grand Prairie's name was in over 1,500 newspapers in the day before the Breeders' Cup, all across, not only the U.S., but all across the world. And so a lot of positive attention to Grand Prairie and to Lone Star Park. The hotels were all full, the restaurants were busy, and it was a good event for Grand Prairie.
The Chamber of Commerce said that they received quite a few hits on their computer, on their website, about the Breeders' Cup during that time, about where we are and et cetera, and they were real pleased that they had a lot of activity also to join with the city in this.
But I think one of the things I'm the most proud of, Ms. Jackson, is the fact that we started the design in this past year, and then we're going to build next year the new Life Center down at Bowles Park.
Yes.
in the northeast part of town. probably way past due, but well deserved. One thing I'm proud of this city is that we haven't forgotten the folks and the parts of town that brought us to the dance, and certainly the northeast part of Grand Prairie. When I was growing up, it was called Burbank Garden. I'm not sure, we just call it Northeast, I guess now, but Fairview, where I was raised, Burbank Garden, you know, we've been able to put all new streets and new sidewalks, and now a new Life Center, which will have a big rec center and a branch library and a police storefront. And
isn't this something new and unusual to have many different entities there in that one place?
Right, but I think it makes that. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Oh, and, it does.
So I'm anxious to get that going, and so proud that the council stepped up and found the funds to get that done, along with I might add the sports corporation. Like we're able to give about $1.5 million to that project, but it's going to be a great project. And I'm very proud of that. Of course, you know, the street. We continue to resurface and rebuild the streets in Grand Prairie, and all because of a quarter-cent sales tax that the people stepped up to the plate, and a quarter-cent sales tax they invoked on themselves just for the maintenance and the rebuilding of our current streets. And
no new ones?
That money cannot be used for new streets, only refurbishing the existing streets. And I think this past year, Ronnie Bates, Ron McCullers' department, Ronnie Bates, who heads that, resurfaced over 11 miles of of existing streets in Grand Prairie, rebuilt. So that's good. And while they were doing that, they rebuilt I think some 8,500, 8,000 feet of new alleys, or resurfacing, rebuilding the alleys. Those had gotten in pretty bad shape. So,
how about sidewalks?
And we did. I think
did a few sidewalks.
I forget exactly how many sidewalks, but a lot of rebuilding of sidewalks, particularly around the schools, around the elementary schools. So that quarter-cent sales tax has been well spent. I believe anybody that has driven through the city since that tax was invoked would agree that it's been the money has been well spent. Of course, we had a lot of new streets that opened last year that outside the quarter-cent sales tax,
especially out near I-20. I am so thankful that you have really gotten some help on that.
Well, you know, it was, I think, the extension of Barden Road was so important for a new east-west major artery, and now Barden Road goes all the way from Arlington, over 360, across Great Southwest, and all the way to Carrier, in fact, past Carrier Parkway to the east. A very important street.
Yes.
Makes the access to the Sam's and the Walmart and all those restaurants a lot more accessible for all of us, for all the people that live, particularly in the southern part of the city.
That was really brought to our attention when Opus came in out there. We knew we were in bad trouble then, but you have really carried the ball on that in your street department.
That was something that needed to be done, and Opus kind of, I think,
pushed us into it, didn't it?
But we opened, finally got Beltline Road rebuilt from I-30 to Hunter Farrell. Beautiful,
gorgeous
mural on underpass there at I-30, and a lot of new landscaping and the widening of Beltline Road, much needed. So that's completed. The new Levee Road, which is also going to be a part of the Trinity Trails project, that road is now complete. In the Carrier Parkway extension from Polo Road south all the way to Camp Wisdom is almost complete. 2 lanes are open now, and that project will be completed in the next 30, 45 days. So all those roads are all very important. We have reopened Mayfield finally from Great Southwest all the way to Robinson Road. So
that was a great help to a lot of people.
It was. So
also 1382, we finally got all of those beautiful plants and everything done there out by the soccer complex. All of that is just so much better now. And
the 1382, a major north-south artery, and of course, as you know, and
part of Beltline.
We're about the early part of the year, they're going to start the construction of the new overpass. It will go over Jefferson, over the railroad tracks, over Main Street. So it's going to make 1382 a very important thoroughfare, for north-south thoroughfare for the city, with completion of the building of the new overpass. Much needed for a lot of reasons, not only for traffic, but for safety. Our location, our proximity to the DFW, and really only having one place where you can cross from the north part of town to the southern part of town. If we ever had a major airline disaster or something in the town, we only had one place we could cross, and that was at Carrier Parkway. So because of those reasons, it's really important that new access be built in our city, and it's going to be a beautiful overpass. We're going to have a lot of good features architecturally. It's going to be a real addition.
Are you going to talk to me about 161 while we're on streets and?
Well, 161, my goodness, we've waited so long for that. I'm almost people probably wonder if it's really going to happen, but TxDOT tells me that they're going to start construction of the interchange at 161 and I-20 right after the first of the year.
Exactly, 2005 is it.
So that's great news. That's going to be so important to our city when that gets built. And of course, the first leg will be from I-20 on the south and go north to Highway 303. But I think one thing that's going to be important about 161, the council's agreed with the Texas Turnpike Authority to allow that to be a toll road, and because of that, we're going to get new service roads along I-20 and along I-30. We're going to be able to extend Lake Ridge Parkway to tie into 161. And even though it's going to be a tollway, the main lanes, the service roads all through the city will be open and will be free. So that's going to be, I think it's going to be good for the city and enable us to do some things along 20 and 30, I-20 and I-30 we didn't do when they were built, and it'd be very important to the development.
The best part to me was when, because of that being a toll road and we're getting extra things, we're going to have that Wagner Park and Mike Lewis Park. Underneath that is going to be a gorgeous new park, and I know you've seen the drawings of that, because that's going to be along the Trinity Trails, and they're going to help us build those Trinity Trails that was going to cost us millions of dollars, that we'll be able to use those funds for that.
It's going to be, I believe they told me, over 4 miles of trails, and Linear Park's going to be some almost 300 feet wide. It's going to be a beautiful, beautiful addition to our park system, and I'm anxious. That's going to get started next year, so I'm anxious. There's so many things going that in parks and on streets that sometimes it's hard to keep up with all the things that are going on.
Well, it's hard to say that this was done in 2004, but all of the plans were made during 2004, and your projection of anything happening in 2005, we've got to run them together, Mayor.
Well, that's right. It's, I look at 2005 and a lot of important things coming up. Number one, we're going to ask the people of Grand Prairie if they want to continue the quarter-cent sales tax to continue to rebuild some of the streets and sidewalks and alleys that need to be done. I think we spent the money very wisely and accomplished a lot, but there's a lot left to do. So we'll go back to the voters in 2005 and ask them if they want to continue that quarter-cent sales tax. My hope is that they will do that. And
well, it's been a blessing to them this year.
It really has. It's
yes.
I think we can look around. It's pretty easy to see what's already been accomplished. We're going to, as we talked about, we're going to build the new Bowles Life Center. That's been under design in 2004, but we're going to build it, start construction at least in 2005. The new cemetery, and gosh, I've got to mention that.
Tell me about that pretty place.
That's opened now because of an awful wet summer. It was a little bit late getting open, but it was worth the wait. Grand Prairie Memorial Gardens and Mausoleum is a beautiful, beautiful cemetery. When it matures and all the new trees and the thing, it's going to be, I think, a beautiful memorial park. I don't even like to. It's really going to be a beautiful
yes, it is.
place in Grand Prairie. So it's been well accepted. We sold over $1 million in lots before the cemetery even opened. In fact, one section of the lots is already sold out, and so it's been very well accepted by the people, and that doesn't surprise. I thought it would be, and it has been. So I got my hats off to Don Wilson, who
yes.
supervised the building of the cemetery, and did a great job. I'm very, very, very proud of that.
I understand that he's leaving us, that he's getting to retire.
Don says he is, but I'm not sure. You know, he's
Yeah.
postponed it a couple of times already, but
Yes.
I think probably if they
He said he
had
has a
money-
ranch somewhere out in West
That's
Texas.
right. So
Oh,
they're
my.
building a new home, and he and Jennifer will probably move out back. In fact, they'll be moving back home
Yes, to the,
where they were raised in that area. So but we're happy. Don's done a great job for the city.
and she's done a great job for the school system.
Oh, you bet. School
Yes,
nurse, and,
that's-
she'll be missed. Those both of them will be missed by the city. The
Yes.
school and the city will both
They-
miss them.
They really will. What else do we need to talk
My
about?
goodness, it's.
How about Kirby
I can
Creek?
tell you, we're going to build a new, very important this next year is the memorial, the Veterans Memorial.
Oh, yes.
That we're going to build. The Rotary Club, along with the city and Lone Star Park, the Sports Corp are all joining in building, very long overdue, but a
Yes.
beautiful memorial, Veterans Memorial near the library, and it's going to be, I think, it's another landmark that people will be so proud of.
They'll get to view it from the frontage road of 161, and that is so key. That is a real great tribute where people that going by there can see that we really cared about those that were lost in many wars.
And a very appropriate time to be building when we're in the war that we're in now. And
Yes.
we didn't plan it that way, but I think it's great that we've
That it's happened.
recognized and finally making it happen in Grand Prairie. Kirby Creek, the indoor swimming pool, we're going to do a lot of improvements there to the senior center. We're going to be doing some improvements in the Dalworth Rec Center, a lot of improvements there. I believe we've got about 5 new playgrounds scheduled to be built this next year.
You're going to work old Rick Harold.
Rick's going to be plenty busy, but
yes, he is.
Here again, and I've got to think, it sometimes the mayor and the council get a lot of credit for that. The people that really
Do
get
that
credit
work.
for that are the people that really, in the citizens of Grand Prairie,
Yes.
here again, that invoked a 1/4-cent sales tax on themselves
Yes.
for parks for the children, and I can tell you that it's kind of like the 1/4 cent for the streets. If anybody that hasn't noticed the improvements in the parks just haven't been out driving around. But
Really?
it's the Wagner Park project is now complete. Of course, the soccer fields have been rebuilt, and Jennifer McFall's Park, the first section was complete last year. Now they're doing the boys baseball section will be open this next year, and just on and on. The parks are really, Park Hill Park is
It
has been
hasn't
built
been.
and
Oh, great.
already added onto the parking lot. So it's the park system is finally getting to be where it needs to be. And thanks to the people of Grand Prairie that gave us the funds to do that with.
And we lost Mrs. Parkhill during this last year, and she was at the rededication of Wagner Park because her grandson was playing ball there, and it wasn't long after that that we lost her to death, and it's a shame, but it's a real tribute to she and her husband.
Well, Maxine and Weldon, Mayor Park Hill, are both great folks, dear friends of Janice and myself, and we do miss them. And but the mayor and Miss Park Hill left a
real
great
legacy.
no question.
Wonderful children.
You bet.
Yes. Now, what are we going to do south of Grand Prairie? Any more growth? Any more new parks? Any more new roads?
Well, we're looking to relocate. We got all the land along Lake Ridge Parkway, and we're looking to relocate Fire Station number 7.
Okay.
It's awful close to Station 9 now. We're really lacking on some coverage out around the lake with all the new homes that are being built. And rather than build an additional fire station, I think I visited with Mr. Hart and Chief Nelson, and I think we've all agreed now that we'll be better served to just relocate Station 7 to a place closer to the peninsula that will still serve the southern part of the city, and Station 9, because of its proximity, can pick up part of what 7 was covering, and 7 can expand out to the more southern part of the city. So that's going to save us building an additional fire station, which we know is very, very expensive. It's expensive to build the station, but then to man it, and it takes about 22 to 25, 28 people to man a fire station. So very, very expensive, and so I'm happy to report that I think by studying this and relocating Station 7 that we can postpone building an additional station for a few years.
With 3 different shifts and all of their equipment, that's almost like funding a city.
Yeah,
when you put in a new fire station, because it
really is.
It really hurts the budget tests.
That's for sure.
Yes.
We had some of the things last year we had a citizen survey, and it was great. I think Amy tells me, and well, I saw the results of the survey, but I think some 85% citizen satisfaction with what's going on in the city. So that's encouraging. I'm proud of those numbers. That doesn't mean to say that everybody's pleased with what the mayor's doing at all, but I think 85% of the people to be satisfied with the quality of life that we have in the city is something to be proud of, and I am, and we're going to try to make that better, make it hopefully 100% someday.
What are we going to do with Trinity Boulevard on the north side of Grand Prairie, past Roy Orr? Do you think we're ever going to make that meet Fort Worth, Trinity there, and get that open, Mayor?
Yeah, the bridges are open now.
Yes.
And
we like a little...
Like just that little part. Actually, you can cross the bridge and go in through some of those... back ways and use it now. But that needs to be done real soon.
Yes.
And hopefully this next year we can find the funds to get I think maybe they might even be working on the design of it now. Not sure where that is, but that needs to be done. You're right, because that's some real important.
That is such a key and integral arterial that we need.
It certainly is, and that's going to happen. We're going to build a new park out in a small neighborhood park out in the Bear Creek community, and that's certainly going to be important. The linear park we talked about in Wagner, that's going to be something that's really going to be spectacular when that's finished. So I'm excited about that. There's so much going on, Ruthie, that I'm not sure that I can. Maybe a couple of notes here so I don't leave anything out. One thing important to the city next year, and I like this about our city now, is looking to our neighbors, and sometimes we can do things together as neighbors that make a lot more business sense and save us all some money. And that's happened again, that we're jointly buying a new computer system for finance and for payroll and for the personnel systems in conjunction with Arlington, Carrollton, and Grand Prairie, going together and buying this new computer system, which will be adequate to serve all 3 cities, and that makes a lot of sense. And so I'm proud that Tom Hart and his staff continue to find ways to try to save money. In today's time, we know we need to do that. And
you've got to upgrade your computer almost every other year to stay up to speed. They change everything, so. That's
right. I always said, if I, in my next life, I think I want to be a computer consultant. But because we have, but it's ever changing. The technology is always changing.
It really is.
And but we're going to continue to recruit new upscale restaurants. I think we've got a good opportunity, a good chance to build one out around the lake this year. The restaurant, commercial development, all those kind of things are very important. The new Camp Wisdom that's being built from 360 to Lake Ridge Parkway is going to be very important for the city. It's going to create an intersection at Camp Wisdom and 360 that could be very, very important for retail development for this area. The southwest corner of Camp Wisdom and 360 could really bring some big retail to the city, and along with some new restaurants. So I'm excited about. Well,
I'm excited about
the future.
The economic development. You had a victory when you were able to really make everything level in the beer and wine sales for economic development, because our city was, our people were having to go many miles.
That's right,
to
and
do
I
these.
think, I remember when Grand Prairie went dry back in 1952 or 53. I was a kid, and I remember probably that needed to happen. But I think we've matured and grown up as a city and know how to. But you're right. To me, that election for the legalized sale of beer and wine in the city was an economic necessity. I mean, we were losing the big groceries, the Targets, the super Targets, those kinds of things were just locating someplace else.
And big grocery stores.
And big grocery stores.
Yes.
So I think this, I think we'll find that it's we'll handle it like it should be handled, and so I'm proud the citizens stepped up and voted for that. That's sometimes can be a very controversial subject here. This time it really wasn't. I think most people saw the third of the city was already wet anyhow.
Yes.
It was just
made it even, Stephen.
made the playing field pretty level. So
we have 2.5 minutes left. I'd like for you to look out into your camera number 2, and I'd like for you first of all to thank our First Lady, who has been the greatest ambassador to get messages to you from many of us, and for the people that you'd just like to say thanks to.
Well, thank you, Ms. A. It has, as I said earlier, it's hard to believe that it's that time of year again, but it's a time of year when that makes me feel good. It makes me realize how lucky we are and how blessed we've been as a city. Myself, Janice and I personally, as a family, we've got the grandkids are growing up so fast. We're so proud. They've been great. We've really, truly been blessed. And I've been blessed with to be able to be the mayor of the city where you grew up, and in good economic times. It's been a great time to be mayor, and I know that. And I've had so much help from so many people, from the council, from the city staff, and
City
from the
manager
people.
has been great.
The city manager and we have a lot of fun. I tell you another thing I think it makes our city unique is that I think most people that work there like to work there. We have a good time. We know how to laugh at ourselves and know when to be serious. But
and you got to have 5 votes, right?
And I do. I learned early on. Maybe you're the one that taught me that as the official parliamentarian, that mayor don't ever go into anything that if you don't have 5 votes. So I have learned to count to 5. That's for sure.
5, yeah.
But it's been great, and thank you for all you do, not only as a council person, but to preserve the history of this great city. You do it so well, and I'm very grateful for that.
Well, I really want to thank you for all of the time that you have pledged to give to this city for another 2 years. You were real blessed when you were elected back in May for another 3-year term. You're using part of that up now, and I want to thank you for caring about the future of Grand Prairie, Texas, because you know what's coming down the pike. You get all of the forecast, and you're just doing a real great job. I am so proud of you as my mayor, and that comes very easy for me to say because Mr. Jackson and I are of the same opinion. We want to
thank you, Mr. You tell Mr. Jackson, who's a great friend, and Jason and I love him so much. He's a good one. And
well, thank you for being our mayor, and thank you for caring about Grand Prairie above and beyond the call of duty.
Thank you.
And this is Ruthie Jackson reminding you that history is as we live and do, and that we document it